I'm a bit disappointed that for the second best movie in the Invisible Man series, excluding the obvious Abbott and Costello crossover, but that's more of a comedy than a horror, that there's no background info on this one, unfortunately. It's another movie that was rushed out by Universal, and sadly, this was starting to get around the time where the movies were not only getting worse in quality, but also Universal was starting to less and less care about actually preserving them and preserving their histories and stuff like that. So, apologies for the rest of these reviews being mostly pretty short because, unfortunately, this is when the production and trivia notes start getting really, really slim. But I'll still do my best, and in place of that, I'll start talking more about the plots. So, what's up? What's happening? What's going on? Everybody, welcome back to Animation Station, which is for anything and everything animation, including TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome back to 31 Days of Horror Monster-Mania. And welcome to the next installment in the Universal Monster series. That was actually a pleasant surprise. I was expecting this to be terrible, just like all these other Invisible Man sequels, but no. This one's actually really, really damn good. Again, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's the truth. Now, is it like the greatest thing ever? No. Is it close to the original? Absolutely not. But what I can say is that this is a fantastic film. Sorry, I forgot I left my heater on. What I can say is that this is a fantastic film. And it's a really strong note for this very, otherwise really poor Invisible Man series to go out on. So, let's discuss it. Welcome to my review of The Invisible Man's Revenge. And like I said before, there's not any background info on this one whatsoever, outside of generalizations. Instead, we're going to talk about the plot, because this is actually one of the better plots of these later Universal Monster films. So, let's dive in. An eager scientist, played by John Carradine, tests his new formula for invisibility on an escaped fugitive, played by John Hall. When the formula works, the criminal runs off to terrorize a family he believes cheated him out of a fortune years ago. Griffin, played by John Hall, is nothing but a mad psychopathic killer who should be locked away for good. Still, he manages to escape from the secluded Cape Town mental institution where he has been committed, and now he is looking for revenge on the respectable Herrick family. Hence the revenge in the title. A family consisting of Sir Jasper and Lady Irene and their daughter Julie, who are engaged in entertaining and inspecting. Julie's new boyfriend, newspaper journalist Mark Foster, in the family residence. Later that night, Julie and Mark leave the residence alone, and Jasper and Irene are left alone. That's when Robert decides to pay the couple a visit. Quite unexpectedly, he enters the residence and accuses the couple, of leaving him to die out in the African wild, injured while they were on a safari together. The Herrick couple defends themselves, claiming they were told that he was dead and not injured. But Robert doesn't buy the explanation. He demands they give him his share of the diamond fields that they all discovered together on the safari. Jasper tries to tell Robert that the diamond fields were all lost in a series of bad investments. Robert refuses to give in, threatening to sue the Herricks, and to calm him down and get him off their backs, they offer him a share in the estate of the Shortlands. His counterproposal is that they should arrange for him to be married to his daughter Julie. After saying this, he passes out in their home. The Herricks realize that their old friend and companion has gone completely mad, and they are frightened of what he could do to them if they didn't comply. They search Robert's clothes and find the written partnership agreement they all entered into some time ago. They take the agreement and throw Robert out of the house. Robert nearly drowns where he lies unconscious, but is saved by a local Cockney cobbler by the name of Herbert Higgins, played by Leon Errol. Herbert decides to use his newfound possibility, the information he got from Robert, to blackmail the Herricks. He is unsuccessful as Jasper calls on Chief Constable Sir Frederick Travers, played by Leyland Hodgson, however you pronounce that. The Chief Constable declares Robert's claims to the Herricks estate as void and orders him to leave his jurisdiction. Robert leaves for London, but on his way he happens to come by the home of eager scientist Dr. Peter Drury, who is played by Carradine. This scientist is involved someone had a typo there, in some questionable research, and is very eager to find a suitable subject to test his new experimental formula on. A formula for invisibility. Robert asks that the doctor try it on him, and he agrees, completely in the dark of the fact that Robert wants to use this to get revenge on the Herricks. Robert forces Jasper to sign over their entire estate to him. He also finds time to help his savior Herbert to win a game of darts at a local inn, in the best scene of the movie. Seriously, the whole scene with the darts is awesome. Not only effects-wise, but also story-wise, because it does a good job building this up. Like, it's a little hard to explain because it is a very brief scene, but it's a very important scene. Jasper secretly also agrees to give his daughter's hand in marriage to Robert if he ever regains his invisibility. Robert goes back to the scientist's laboratory and witnesses how the doctor restores visibility to his dog Brutus by giving him a blood transfusion. Robert breaks into the laboratory and I can't talk today, I'm sorry, I'm so rusty. And knocks the doctor unconscious before performing a blood transfusion on him using the doctor's blood. The transfusion results in the doctor's death, and to avoid capture, Robert sets the laboratory on fire and takes off before the police arrive to the scene. Robert changes his identity to Martin Field and moves in with the Herricks at the estate, which he is now owner to. When Herbert finds out about Robert's return, he makes a futile attempt to blackmail him, and out of pity and perhaps thankfulness, Robert pays the man £1,000 to get rid of him. Robert has one condition for paying the money: that Herbert kills the doctor's dog, who has followed Robert back to the Herrick estate after the fire. Yeah, this movie really does go there. Robert loses his invisibility one day at the breakfast table with Julie and her fiancé Mark present. He tricks Mark to follow him down into the wine cellar where he knocks the man out, starting another second blood transfusion with Mark's blood. Chief Constable Travers arrives at the estate after he has found out about Robert's return. With some help from Herbert and Jasper, they break into the cellar just as the transfusion is completed. In time to save Mark's life, Robert is attacked by the still very much alive Brutus and finally dies. Yeah, that's a pretty brutal end for any villain, right? Getting mauled by a dog. So, yeah, it's a really good story that returns to the vengeful, mad, crazy, sciencey character the Invisible Man's supposed to be, and not just some random guy that has invisibility. They named him Griffin as his last name, as a tribute to the original. And the plot is actually genuinely interesting, because it is a revenge plot, and it does mostly play out really, really well. So, I don't really have much else to say here. Let's go straight into final thoughts now, shall we? The last standalone Invisible Man sequel, and surprisingly enough, easily the best one. This Invisible Man is back to being a tragically compelling yet murderous anti-hero again, just like the original one was. The characters are excellent, the story is solid, the production value is one of the higher-end installments in the Silver Age of the Universal Horror cycle. The dartboard scene is awesome. Again, still best scene in the movie. It's still brisk runtime-wise, ending is absolutely fantastic, and it does actually have a good bit of rewatchability. Sure, the pacing could use some work, but after how terrible and pointless the rest of these Invisible Man sequels have been, this was a wonderful welcome surprise. Absolutely check it out, it is by far one of the best of the Silver Age entries. Definitely check this movie out if you haven't seen it. Yeah, it's an Invisible Man sequel, and it's not going to be as good as the original, but this is the closest that it comes to actually capturing what the original did so well. And that is why its final verdict is a high and well-deserved 8 out of 10. It's a great film. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, and we may be done with The Invisible Man, but we are not quite done with Universal. We still have a good bit to go, including the Abbott and Costello crossovers and a bunch of other crazy nonsense. So, I'll see you guys next time when we rejoin Karis the Mummy with the Mummy's Ghost.